After much anticipation, Part 1 of the 1.17 update to Minecraft is here, and with it, the hotly debated winner of the mob vote, the Glow Squid. I actually wanted the Glow Squid to win. Is this really an unpopular opinion? According to the people I see raging about Iceologer and Moobloom not getting added to the game, yes. By the way, you may notice that my mic sounds different and that I'm playing with RTX on, something currently impossible on the Android edition of Bedrock. My old computer that I've had for the last 8-ish years was starting to really struggle, so I figured it was time for an upgrade. So please enjoy this footage of RTX Glow Squids. Unfortunately, RTX does not make the squids themselves glow, so looking at them at night isn't so great. But I made this box using the new tinted glass and it looks really good during the daytime. For some reason, the tinted glass lets in just enough light to make the squids look nice, but blocks out everything else. Which is great because I was finding that the resource pack on Nvidia's website was making normal stained glass look extremely reflective, almost a little too much like a mirror. But hey, maybe that's just me. I'll include a link to that page in the description if you haven't seen it already. Oh no. Does this mean I'm going to have to start learning how to make my own resource packs? Back to the topic at hand. Full disclosure, I wasn't that emotionally invested in the mob vote. I play exclusively peaceful mode, or at least anything without hostile mobs, because that kind of stress is bad for my skin. So when I saw that 2 of the proposed mobs were passive, I was a little excited. Realistically, though, if Iceologer had won, I wouldn't have cared that much. It just would have been a lost opportunity for more game content for me. Besides, with all the other cool stuff we were getting in 1.17, I'd have plenty of stuff to look forward to anyway. But before I continue on to the 2 passive mobs, I have to say the thing that cracks me up about the people who say Iceologer should have won is that I imagine a lot of them also voted for Phantoms, only to then wish they hadn't been added. I mean, I don't have any empirical data, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Venn diagram of people who wanted Iceologer and people who complained about Phantoms looks a lot like a circle. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to poll enough people to know if my hypothesis is correct, especially since I can't even make polls yet. That's a feature only for channels that have at least 1,000 subscribers, so tapping or clicking that red button would help me out a lot. In the meantime, feel free to leave a comment below about whether you wanted Iceologer, and if you also wanted Phantoms. Back to the 2 passive mobs. If you've watched episode 1 of my Hardcore but No Mobs Spawn series, you'll know that blue is one of my favorite colors. The Glow Squid is technically closer to cyan, I guess, but come on, that's close enough to be considered blue. But what you wouldn't know from that episode is that yellow is one of my least favorite colors. I don't know about you, but the only images I ever saw of the Moobloom prior to the vote were yellow. So obviously I cared a little more about the Glow Squid than I cared about the cow. And I can already hear somebody say, "But Mask, you have yellow on your skin!" Listen, okay, there is a difference between a color being an accent color and a color being the base color. That entire cow was yellow. And of course, I only found out after the fact that the Moobloom would have been available in other colors too. That's why I believe there was a conspiracy. And no, I'm not talking about the group of YouTubers who campaigned for Glow Squid to win, though I am sure that was a significant factor. I'm talking about the field of psychology. Do you know what the most common response is to the question, "What is your favorite color?" I tried to find an exact percentage, but the thing about surveys is that the percentages will change based on who you're asking. However, after consulting multiple sources, I'm fairly certain that somewhere between 22 and 44% of people would answer that their favorite color is blue. And do you know what one of the least common colors if not the least common color to have as a favorite is? Again, I couldn't find consistent numbers, but it may be somewhere between as few as 2 to 5% of people view yellow as their favorite color. That's interesting, isn't it? Blue, the color that the glow squid is, mostly, is the most common favorite color. Meanwhile, yellow, the color that the Moobloom is the least common favorite color. Now, it is entirely possible that this is all just a coincidence and someone wasn't secretly scheming against the Moobloom. After all, the glow squid would naturally occur underwater, and we usually associate the water with colors like blue and green, so it makes sense that it would be one of those colors. Meanwhile, the promotional materials for the Moobloom associated it with sunshine and bees. In other words, things that are yellow. So it makes sense that they would show the yellow version of the Moobloom. And I suppose that if color was a major factor in most people's decisions, the Moobloom wouldn't have received 28.3% of the vote. But could it be that color was a factor for enough people that Moobloom didn't get enough votes to win? Might it have won if they had shown another color, like orange or purple? Regardless, the glow squid won, and people are still mad, even though this means we get to have glow item frames and glow ink sacs, which makes signs a lot easier to read. As someone who needs glasses, I very much appreciate this change. I always had a really difficult time trying to read dark oak and spruce signs, and the dyed signs weren't all that distinctive before, but now with the glow ink sacs, the color change is way more obvious. Caves and Cliffs Part 1 is much easier to say, but considering how mad some fans were about glow squid and the changes to ore textures, I think I'll be referring to this update as the Mojang made the game better for players with vision problems, people got mad anyway update. To be fair, change can be challenging, and seeing what we could have had, I can understand why some fans are upset that Moobloom wasn't added, but I think there might still be some hope for our flowery friend. While reviewing the wiki page for the mob vote, I found a link to this tweet which seems to indicate that Moobloom could come back. So I have a plan. If we ask really nicely, and we promise to be very cool about it, which means that we will not, I repeat, we will not spam the developers, maybe they will consider adding Moobloom in the future? Again, it is imperative that we be polite about this, and we ask nicely. Will this plan work? Well, I don't have a time machine, so I can't answer with certainty, but I think it stands a decent chance of success. After all, Mojang has a really great track record of listening to the community, and you know what they say, you miss all of the shots you don't take. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to trying to find a baby glow squid since, like regular squid, they have a 5% chance to spawn in Bedrock Edition. If you want to watch me talk about baby squid some more, feel free to click on this video on the end screen. Until next time, take care.